Hi everyone, welcome back to Be Rich. I just had an event with a group of you in Bangalore. That was fun, and we had a lot of great discussions about Indian equity, about US equity, about personal finance, what we should do and not do. It was great. I'm having another meetup on the 7th in Bangalore again. That'll probably be a longer session, probably have two opportunities. We'll do it as a double session since a lot of you are interested in attending and couldn't make it this Saturday. I've asked the team to set it up as two events on Saturday, the 7th. So if you are interested, do reach out to my team or ping me on WhatsApp or on Instagram in our group. I'll pass your number on and someone will get in touch and help you coordinate so we can meet up at the venue. The venue is probably going to be near Vartu Lake in Whitefield. So if it's something which you'd like to do and meet up, keep an eye out for the form, fill it in, and we'll see if we can get you to attend and catch up. So as I was talking about yesterday, the new big beautiful bill, and that is something which we discussed today when we met up, and the implications to Indian investors and what it means. This goes to again say why when it comes to investments, we should always be keeping our horizons such that we have flexibility and we keep long-term things in horizons, and fixating on taxation and laws currently doesn't help us when we're planning, because as I was saying yesterday, these laws are very fluid and they can keep changing, and there's no guarantee that what we're doing today will be the same laws which we'll be able to apply maybe 10 years from now, 15 years from now, if we plan to liquidate and get into retirement. So keep all this in mind when you make an investment plan. That was one of the main things we were talking about. And yesterday, if you saw the video and you thought, well, I'm not sending money home, and though I'm an NRI, so it doesn't really affect me. All my investments are in the US. Or if you're an Indian sitting and investing in the US, thinking, no, this doesn't affect me. I'm only sending money there and investing, and I'm not worried about it. I would say think again. This does not only come for remittance. Section 899, it's specifically targeting foreign investors, and it's targeting the very way we invest and the very instruments of investment we're using and the way they're taxed and the way they're structured. So even if you have a portfolio in the US, mutual fund or a private equity exposure, this affects you. And this part of the bill that's quietly rewriting the US tax treaties, and that's massive. Meaning we have these treaties amongst ourselves about taxation and the way we treat each other when it comes to money moving from one country to another. Quietly, this bill is taking a sledgehammer to it and he's breaking it, because he feels Americans are being treated unfairly, and it's about time they get their pound of flesh, as he feels. So what is this Section 899? Section 899 targets countries with tax the US deems unfair, like with digital tax, service tax, or the Pillar 2 rule. In India, we are levying digital service taxes on companies like Google, Microsoft. Donald Trump feels this is unfair, that we're targeting, these tax laws are targeting mainly American companies. It can be argued that we are a developing nation, we are a poor nation, and we are a poor country, and these are large American corporates coming from a very developed economy, and they're making a lot of money here, so there's nothing wrong. It could be our argument, but he feels otherwise. So it aims to punish these countries by increasing the US tax rate on any income that flows to them up to 20%. This is not the 3.5 which I was talking about yesterday. This is up to 20% on income tax. That income that flows out of the America to these countries, he can tax them up to 20%. And the big kicker is it overrides any existing US tax treaties which we have. Let's say we have an existing treaty with them. It overrides that and it decides to say, no, you know what, it's unfair. We're going to punish you, is what the bill is basically saying. And it might suddenly mean whatever tax ideas which you have had carefully planned, tax structures you've been putting into place, will all come suddenly crashing down. So keep this in mind. This not only affects the way you are investing, how you're investing, it also deeply affects the way you've been planning and structuring your investments. So the US also is going to plan that foreign firms which have foreign shareholders above 50%, they will face an increased BEAT tax up to 12.5%. So you may be wondering, what is this BEAT? BEAT full form is the Base Erosion Anti-Abuse Tax. Imagine a big company in the US tries to reduce its tax bill by shifting profits to low tax countries, like paying its Indian subsidiaries high royalties or service fees. These payments are eroding the American tax base. So this BEAT is a penalty tax designed to stop this and ensure that companies with big international operations cannot use clever accounting tricks to dodge US taxes. So who does this affect? It affects mostly large American corporations that have significant foreign ownership or making large payments to foreign affiliates. So that's like pretty much like saying our Hindustan Lever in India paying the parent company royalty, or Procter & Gamble paying royalty, Nestle. These are like Indian examples for those of you who don't understand what I'm talking about. So that will attract 12.5% in BEAT tax. So what are the value investor impact? Well, let's say you've invested in the US funds that has ties in India or the UK or another digital service tax country, the DST. This tax your tax cost just went up phenomenally. Funds may be forced to restructure or worse, they might even have to lose some of their global investors, because the friction and the delays that is going to ultimately cause through all this taxation is going to start eroding at your returns. So what is US is essentially saying is this: you play by our tax rules or we'll make it very painful for you. That's in essence what the Trump administration is telling foreign investors and countries which are looking to invest in the US, American companies with foreign ownership. That's what basically he's saying. So what can we do at this point of time? Well, there are things which we can do to mitigate this and lower our tax burden and, of course, save our investments. That is to review our investment structure. Where is your money rooted from? Which country? Which treaty? These things are important. Avoid tax blocker corporations. That means blocker corporation is instead of routing your funds directly into the US, a lot of people strategically use Cayman Islands or something like that to route their funds through it, which makes it tax compliant. At the same time, they're lowering their tax. Avoid these, because he's going to target these tax blocker corporations, tax blockers which people are using. This BEAT, which I was talking about before, try and see, is your fund ownership having any BEAT exposure, and try to lower those liabilities. Then brace for higher withholding. Withholding agents might act immediately, even before you get clarity. So brace for higher withholding. What does higher withholding mean? They're like the middlemen, the banks, the brokers, the fund managers, remittance platforms who collect tax in behalf of the IRS. So they can start reaching to your money even before you get a chance to get clarity. The new law says up to 20% withholding on this income. The withholding agent is one of those who deducts the tax at source and pays it to the IRS. So keep in mind all this going forward. Of course, like I said in the previous video, it is a great time for you to hire a cross-border CPA, because you can't do this yourself, because the tax laws are complicated and tax in the US is very serious, and tax in India is serious too, but in US, you know how they are, the IRS, so you have to be very careful when it comes to this. So having a professional who is competent, who knows what they're doing, is very crucial to getting this thing done correctly. And a lot of you may be thinking that but aren't we all protected with the DTAA, which is a double tax avoidance treaty? The truth is, it's not. This new bill bypasses all those treaties and protections which were in place. And even the 3.5 excise tax on remittance is not covered under the DTAA. So the section 899 is explicitly saying treaty benefits can be denied, like what is happening in the US in terms of going to the court and he is removed. Whatever Biden has given protection to those migrants, like how he's removed, the same way these protections, he can choose to remove them. So whatever past assumptions you're relying on may not be true anymore. You may not have shield, or the shield you thought you had is full of holes. So these are the things I want you to keep in mind. This is a new tax world which we're living in now, and you should be aware of all these tax rules. Of course, it has not come to pass as law. It has to still get through the Senate, and it might go through some alterations. But it's more likely that it's going to pass, all things considered, the way things have happened so far, than it's not getting passed. It's more likely to get passed, all things considered, like what is happening, than it not getting passed. And just don't assume that you're protected. Review your plans, stay alert, and adapt is most important thing in all this. And these are things, implications which I wanted to talk about personal finance. Tomorrow I'll get back into talking about stocks and company-specific news. So I hope you had a wonderful weekend. It was great, like I said, catching up with some of you in Bangalore. Look forward to meeting some more of you next weekend on Saturday. Nothing else more to say. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and a wonderful day. I'm sorry I had to record in the car, but Bangalore traffic is such that if I did not get this video recorded in the car in the situation, you wouldn't have had anything from me on Sunday evening. So I wanted to at least make sure that I get something to you. Don't worry, I'm not driving the car. I'm being driven in Bangalore here, so it's pretty safe. Thank you again for watching me on Be Rich today. I hope you had a wonderful day and a wonderful evening and a wonderful weekend. Get ready to get back into Tiffin Coffee, investing, as I say. See you on Instagram, and nothing else more to say. But thank you for watching Be Rich, and good night.